Hello everyone, I'm in the Algarve in Portugal and I've been invited to meet JP Ajami, who is the owner of Global Fire Equipment. JP, great to meet you, my friend.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for the invitation, and we couldn't have chosen a better day to visit the new facility. Global Fire Equipment have been on a huge growth spurt, and from the beginning, in the early days in 1994 in Denmark, when JP started with just 12 square meters of workspace, you must feel like you're in your element now with 6,500 square meters of workspace to play with.
I feel like I have a lot more headaches than I had back then. And in fact, it has been a very, very strong growth, albeit over a large period of time, because that was back in 1994 and we are now in 2023. But altogether, we have grown as to necessity of having our own capability to produce the equipment that we design. So it's nothing out of the ordinary, and it's necessary if you don't want to die, basically, as a company.
Technology innovation is changing so much within the industry. How long would you expect a GFE product to have a lifespan within the industry?
We are really a special case in the electronics industry, because whereas consumer products, they have a lifespan of 6 months to 1 year, we are talking about products that have a lifespan of 20 years. And most of the time, the reason why they have to be scrapped and renewed or changed completely is because the components that go into them are no longer available, because the general life cycle of this industry is much, much shorter than what we do. But of course, the investment taken into creating a product, putting it into production, is so high that we really need that lifespan to be able to recover the investment.
One of the things I wanted to just touch back on when we were walking around the facility, and you talk about constantly reviewing, it was your comments and straight away that you've already outgrown the facility of your welfare for your staff at your cafeteria, and you're already looking at expanding that as you have evolved into this building. Business is all about reviewing what you're doing to ensure that your most important asset, the staff, are given the best facilities. And it's clear to me, having walked around here, that the staff have got a warm approach to you. Then it's an open facility where people come up and talk and chat and engage, which means that they're happy to work with the boss looking at them, or whether the boss isn't looking at them. And then that's a credit to the whole environment that you've got here. I want to tell people, one of the phrases that JP used to me earlier was his playground. And I want to just touch now on, JP, tell everybody about your playground and what GFE Tech brings to the whole global fire equipment industry.
Exactly. Well, my playground, which is a spin-off of Global Fire Equipment, we're talking about 2013, where I basically decided to separate the research and development that is basically the fuel that keeps the flames burning in our business, pardon the pun. It really means that we are able to keep on creating new things. And the reason for separating it is that when you are inside a manufacturing facility, your flexibility is going to be very much reduced, because you are first and foremost worried about resolving the problems that have to do with manufacturing. And that is just a review phase, like you were talking about, where we feel very much at ease to change things if they need to be changed in the processes. But the main idea behind a company like this is to have ideas, to innovate, to create things that customers ask you, because most of my ideas come from traveling all around the world and talking with the different people that work with us. When you do that, then you're able to come back with ideas. And ideas is what drives this whole business.
JP, one of the things that you said there that really caught me was the traveling around the world and speaking to the end user. I think that is one of the golden threads of manufacturing, is listening to the end user. I've seen so many times over the years where companies will produce products, and when a client comes and says, I need this, I say, well, take your pick. But it's what the manufacturer has made, not what the client wants. And by going around and talking to the client, you're listening to what they have to say, which not only shows the integrity of you as a company, but also puts that feeling of worth within your client. And I think that's something that, from what I've seen, having worked with you in the past and being an old friend of Paul Pope and the way that Paul is integrated into your company, is that you have built a company based around the end user, using the best materials, the best innovation, and the best people to do that. And I think that is a credit to when you go back to where you started in 1994. So I think to round up and look at where GFE is, I know that driven by innovation is a strapline that you're hugely
Yes.
proud of. If we were to sit down in 6 months' time, which I hope we will somewhere, and talk about what we've discussed today, what would you think that we will be discussing in terms of your growth? Where do you see the growth in your production, and where do you want to get to?
Well, basically, going back on the start of your talking about listening to customers and one size fits all, I can tell you that our biggest customer nowadays was one because their previous supplier would not help them adapt to the legislation and to the requirements of their marketplace. And that gave us an opportunity, and they are now our biggest single customer, let's put it this way. But in relation to sitting here in 6 months' time, I would say that we need to be with a growth stage of about 25 to 30%. Last year, in terms of sales, we grew something like 35, 36%, which was far too much. It's also one of the reasons it was so vital to move premises and to go through this stressful situation. But in 6 months' time, I certainly hope to have stabilize things here, to be finished with a lot of the developments that we are doing right now, and being able to launch those products properly and with full certification. That is my main goal at this point in time.
JP, it's been an absolute pleasure, my friend. And
you're very welcome. It was nice having you.
Look forward to catching up with you very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.